What's up, beautiful people? Today we're going to be checking out a video from one of my favorite channels to watch, and this is Russian Plus. The title of the video we're going to be seeing is Post-Soviet States After 30 Years of Independence, and it's going to feature Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan and Georgia. Please, if I call the name wrong, do not fry me, just correct me. I'm sorry, I apologize. That being said, let's get to this one.
Hello guys, my name is Slava, this is Russian Plus, and in this video I wanted to talk about a few countries that I've visited over the last couple years, and those are Azerbaijan, Georgia, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. Now, what do all these countries have in common? They all used to be part of the USSR, and as you might know, the USSR started in 1922 and it ended in 1991. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a video about how these countries are doing some 32 years after they got their independence. I'm going to be sharing some statistical information as well as my personal experiences. And if you look at these countries, it's easy to see that Kazakhstan is by far the largest country. It's 2.7 million square kilometers. It's about the size of Argentina, and it's the 9th largest country in the world. And at the same time, its population is just 19.3 million people, which makes it one of the least densely populated countries in the world. And the capital of Kazakhstan is Astana. This is what it looks like. Georgia, on the other hand, is the smallest country on the list. The area is just 69.7 thousand square kilometers. It's about the size of Ireland, and the population is just 3.7 million, which is actually down from 5.4 million in 1991, so the population is declining. And the capital city is Tbilisi. This is what it looks like.
Why is it declining? I heard it's pretty cheap and good to live there. Yes, a video that is good to live in Georgia. Things are cheap and it's clean and it's a nice environment with good taxes.
To make things worse, Georgia has two regions of the country that are currently under occupation. And those are Abkhazia and South Ossetia. You see them on the map. Georgia and nearly all the UN members consider them to be occupied by Russia. Next country is Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan has a population of 10 million people, which is up from 7.2 million in 1991, so the population growth is pretty good. The area is 86,000 square kilometers. It's about the size of Serbia. And the capital city is Baku. This is what it looks like.
Pretty nice.
And finally, Uzbekistan. The area is 448,000 square kilometers. It's about the size of Sweden. Uzbekistan has more people than all the other three countries combined. Almost 35 million people. And also what's fascinating is how fast the population is growing. In 1991, the population was just 20 million. Now it's almost 35. So it nearly doubled. That's impressive. And the capital city is Tashkent. This is what it looks like. Okay, next thing we can talk about is their economies. Let's start with Azerbaijan. It's predominantly an oil-based economy. Its strategic partner is Turkey, and you will see Turkish flags all over the country. Their languages are similar, and the locals actually like to say, 2 states, 1 nation. Tourism potential is great in the country. I can confirm that, but there's not really much done to promote it. They recently completed a pipeline that bypasses Russia and goes directly through Georgia and Turkey and to Europe. And overall, this country has the least dependency on trade with Russia, just 6.3%. Okay, Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan possesses huge oil reserves, minerals, metals, as well as considerable agricultural potential. China is becoming Kazakhstan's largest trading partner, soon to overtake Russia. But the major problem is corruption. In 2012, the World Economic Forum listed corruption as the biggest problem in doing business with the country. And if you ask the locals, they'll tell you that in recent years there were a lot of questionable billion-dollar projects undertaken, like the LRT line in Astana and also Expo 2017 in Astana, which are never going to be profitable. They're never going to be able to pay for themselves. While at the same time, if you look at the map of the country, the two major cities, Astana and Almaty, are still not connected by a major highway.
Why?
Now, let's look at Georgia. Since the Rose Revolution in 2003, which was under Saakashvili administration, Georgia undertook a number of institutional reforms, modernizing the economy that touched every aspect of the country's life. Tourism is doing great, bureaucracy has been minimized, and great tax policies introduced.
Yeah, I heard so too.
Say, for a non-resident, the tax rate can be as low as 1%, which is pretty impressive as long as your income does not top $160,000 a year. So for a YouTuber like me, this could be a very good deal. And finally, Uzbekistan.
Right.
For this country took the longest to transform from a Soviet-style command economy to a market economy. However, since the election of President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, the country has seen rapid economic and social reforms that allowed the path to foreign investment. And I spent 6 months in the city of Tashkent, and I saw it with my own eyes. There's a lot of new construction going on, new restaurants opening up, and new hotels.
Thriving.
Tashkent International Airport is becoming
And new cars. I'm sorry for stopping the video. I'm just so interested. I'm sorry. I'll try not to stop it so often. But yeah, look at the cars, all clean. People are having money then.
the city of Tashkent, and I saw it with my own eyes. There's a lot of new construction going on, new restaurants opening up, and new hotels. Tashkent International Airport is becoming a major hub. It already has direct flights with Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Kuala Lumpur, Paris, and even New York. Uzbekistan has substantial deposits of gold, silver, strategic metals, gas, and oil. Of course, Uzbekistan is a major producer of cotton, and luckily the country has finally succeeded in eradicating systemic forced labor and child labor. Okay, now let's compare the economies. As you can see, Kazakhstan has the biggest economy. The nominal GDP is $224 billion, and it also has the highest GDP per capita, which is $11,591. And Uzbekistan has the lowest GDP per capita, just $3,478, which makes this country the poorest on the list. What about human rights and political freedoms? Those are important, right? So Freedom House rates countries on a scale of 1 to 100. Let's start with the lowest score, and that is Azerbaijan. It only gets 9 points out of 100, which is considered not free. Azerbaijan is clearly not a democracy. The situation is similar to countries like China and Yemen. And since 1993, Azerbaijan only had 2 presidents, that is Haydar Aliyev and now his son, the current president, Ilham Aliyev. So the 2 of them were in power for 30 years. Uzbekistan is not that far ahead with 12 points, which is similar to Cuba and Bahrain. Since the fall of the USSR, President Ilham Karimov held office for 26 years until he died, and now Shavkat Mirziyoyev is in his second term. Kazakhstan is doing a little better with 23 points out of 100, which is similar to Oman and Rwanda. President Nursultan Nazarbayev was in office for 28 years until he stepped down in 2019 and was replaced by Tokayev, who's now been in office for 4 years. It seems like the population might be a little tired of authoritative governments, and the January protests of 2022 is a clear indication of that. What about Georgia? Well, Georgia is doing much better, 58 points out of 100,
Wow,
and that's similar to Indonesia and Philippines.
That's
and
very
it's
good.
the only country on this list to be considered partly free. Since 1991, Georgia had 9 presidents, and the current president is Salome Zugabeshvili. It's a lady president that was elected in 2018. I know I was praising Georgia's achievements in my videos a lot, and for a good reason, but what once was a beacon of democracy in South Caucasus is now backsliding into something that not a lot of Georgians are happy about. You can't but notice this dissonance between the public Georgian opinion and its foreign policy. 3/4 of Georgians are pro-Western, and only a tiny proportion of the population is pro-Russian, like this oligarch Bidzina Ivanishvili, who they say through his control of the Georgian Dream Party and the government might be maneuvering the country into the Russian sphere of influence instead of becoming a candidate for EU membership. On the streets of Tbilisi, you will see a lot of graffiti just like this.
Why is that?
Let's talk about religion for a second. Georgia is Christian, 88%. Kazakhstan is 69% Muslim and 17% Christian. Azerbaijan is 96% Muslim, but it's the most secular Muslim country in the world, so the role of Islam in politics and everyday life is really small. And Uzbekistan, in my opinion, is the most religious country on the list, 96% Muslim. And some regions of Uzbekistan, like Namangan and Fergana Valley in general, are very religious. It's funny, one Uzbek guy in a conversation told me, oh, you worry about democracy too much. Here, we'll just respect and obey and not question anybody who's in charge because they're God sent. That's one way of looking at it. Okay, now let me share some of my personal experiences. First, I want to point out how friendly people are, especially the top two are rural areas of Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan. I was really surprised how people were treating me way better than I expected. And, I was born in the USSR, and since the Soviet days, Russia was not really teaching you to be tolerant and accepting and understanding of other people's culture. And I fell into the trap of imperial thinking also when I was younger, but traveling and living abroad molded me into the person that I am today. What about safety? Is safety an issue? Well, it's not, but let's look at the statistics. If you look at intentional homicide rate, which is, I think, the best indication of how dangerous a country is, the most dangerous turns out to be Kazakhstan. 3.2 cases of intentional homicide per 100,000 people. Is that a lot?
No, I don't think so. It is pretty low. Some countries in Africa, I'm not going to call names, they have a lot higher.
Well, it's similar to Estonia, so it's not too crazy. And actually, if you compare that to the US, it's twice safer than the US. Azerbaijan has a rating of 2.3, which is even safer. Georgia is 1.9. And Uzbekistan, surprisingly, is the safest, 1.2 cases of intentional homicide per 100,000 people. That is similar to England and Wales and Slovakia, and 6 times safer than the US. Good job, Uzbekistan. What about the public opinion in these countries? Well, I've noticed that men and women over 50 or 60 tend to be very nostalgic about the USSR times, while the youths are clearly not. Kazakhstan youths consider the Soviet time as a time of occupation, and at the same time I saw trucks with a picture of Stalin in Georgia, out of all places. So opinions differ, but in all these countries you'll find museums of Soviet occupation and repressions. There's Museum of Victims of Political Repression in Tashkent. There are Gulag museums in Kazakhstan, and there is a Museum of Soviet Occupation in Tbilisi. What's the biggest challenge for these countries? It's nepotism and corruption. I had to give bribes on a few occasions to traffic cops in Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan. These countries run on who-you-know principles. So, you make friends with someone and they will always say, hey, I have a traffic cop in this city. I know a state official in that town. If you need my help, I'm going to help you. But at the same time, they expect the same kind of favor from you. So it's all about who you know. Also, I heard multiple stories of traffic cops in Kazakhstan demanding bribes from drivers. So it's a major problem there as well. Actually, I have a funny story to share. I was at one of the Kazakhstan's national parks and I wanted to fly my drone. So I asked the locals and they say, I got to go see that national park administration official. So I went to his office and I said, hey, can I fly my drone here? He said, sure, but you need to get a stamp. And for that, you need to drive to a nearby town, 2 hours one way, 2 hours back, to get that stupid stamp. And I said, can't we just do it over fax? And he said, well, not really. But he was kind of letting me know that things could be done faster. If only 0 tenge from me, let's just say that. And I flew my drone, no problem. And he was saying that, this park is so close to the Chinese border, so it's a matter of state security. But if I only got that stupid stamp, it would be safe all of a sudden. So it's funny. This was not my experience in Georgia, though. If you came across corruption in Georgia, let me know in the comments. Now, in case you're considering visiting some of these countries, which one do you start with? Well,
Georgia.
All of them are worth visiting, but I would start with Georgia because it has so much to offer. It has the remote mountainous regions like Svaneti, remote mesmerizing landscapes and fantastic cuisine. Then there's the Black Sea coast and the city of Batumi. Then there's the wine region of Kakheti, and it's just breathtaking. Let's take a look. Over there, you can visit a number of wineries, and of course, the cosmopolitan city of Tbilisi has so much to offer, so you can't go wrong. What about Azerbaijan?
Okay, guys, unfortunately, we have to end that video right there. My camera is giving me some trouble that I don't quite understand right now. I just had to be truthful. It just cut off sharply and is complaining on the screen. Well, it's the end of this one. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a wonderful day. Peace.